Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Targeting Winners College Football Betting Podcast. I am Tim. With me, as always, Darren and Peter. Boys, how you doing?
Dog just barked, answering for me. It's hot up here today.
Well, your dog is doing great.
My son probably just came home from his second day on the job because my dog barks at everybody that enters the door. Nice up here, hot, muggy. Probably get a 5-minute thunderstorm and make it 20 degrees hotter, but I'll take it over snow any day. I don't have to shovel any of this stuff. So, doing
Peter,
good,
how goes it?
Yeah, it's been rainy and shitty for days, and it's going to continue. It's crap is cutting across the north here, so it's been cloudy, rainy, crappy, and not very lovely. It's warm, but not lovely. So, whatever. Waiting for some actual summer weather.
Right. Well, having a great week. New York Knicks. They did it again. Big time comeback. So by the time of our next show, I might be crying or be pissed and throwing things. And also, I don't know if you've heard, not college football related, again, the greatest band in the history of the world. They're back on tour. Yes, REM, of course. Yes. No, Rush is back. Started their tour, so did not go because I didn't have $1,200 and plane tickets to fly out there. But it was in Los Angeles, and 6 a.m. Monday morning. It was on YouTube, so I'm sitting there watching it at 6 a.m. because I knew I wasn't going to be able to avoid the set list and all that. Our buddy Jeff, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to try not to see the set list before he goes. He's going to see him next month in Toronto." And I'm like, "Good luck, dude, because there's no way you're not going to see this set list." So I watched it. I was just as surprised as anybody. Pete, did you get a chance to check it out, or?
I didn't watch the whole set. I watched some chunks of it. Obviously, very interested in Annika and how that was going to go. I'll let you talk first. This is your band first and foremost.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the drummer because my guy is sadly no longer with us.
Yes.
The god of drumming. I thought she did great. I was more impressed. Sorry, and we're listening. Spoiler alert. So we're going to talk about some of the songs they play, but they did play, obviously, Tom Sawyer. They got to play that all the time. She hit those drum breaks very well, but they also played Bytor and the Snow Dog, and I think those drum breaks are harder than Tom Sawyer's, and she nailed them as well. I thought she did fine. And she didn't just play the way he would have played it. She played her own little thing, and she had a little fun with the guys too, like the way Neil did when he played. So hey, if you're going to change the band, change the band. So it would have been easy for them to get Danny Carey or Mike Portnoy, to sit in, and they got this girl that no one's ever heard of. Well, girl, she's like 43, 45, something like that. So something like that. Yeah. But she was. I mean, she played with Jeff Beck, so she's not going to be a slouch. I don't think they would trust, their music to a slouch of a drummer. So you knew she was going to be good. The show was great. Did you see any of the opening stuff? I know they opened up with Xanadu, which freaking blew my mind because I thought you could have gave me 50 guesses and I never would have thought of that song. I thought they were going to open up with Working Man just because they always end the show with Working Man. I thought they were going to do something that's totally different. They did something totally different, but all right. But they played a couple songs. I mean, the advantage of watching it on YouTube. So there's a couple songs that I never really need to hear again. I've just maybe heard, and they played them. I think they played them like back to back, and so I was able to while I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to cook my breakfast, clean up the kitchen, and then I came right back in. So I mean, I don't know if I should piss everybody off. Free Will and Subdivisions, I just never need to hear them again. And I think they played them back to back, so it was perfect. So I know every band's got that. I mean, you pick any band around, I'm sure AC/DC fans or something probably never need to hear Highway to Hell again or something. I don't know. They'll pick whatever song they've heard a million times.
Yeah, believe me, I understand. If I hear Sweet Child of Mine one more time, I swear I'm going to strangle somebody. So, yeah.
Right. Can I just change the channel? Yes. Like with Tom Petty, it's American Girl for me. I'm like, yeah. I've heard of them. I've been in bands that have played that song a million times. So, yeah, if that song comes on, I kind of change the channel. And Free Will and Subdivisions, I mean, they're good songs, but yeah, I'm not gonna
overplay it.
If they got a song, if there's a Rush song that you don't like, or not that you don't like it, but you never need to hear again, drop it in the comments. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many people we can anger in the first 5 minutes before we even get to our college football picks here. But But yeah, all in all, very happy. Glad to see him back. Now I got to work on getting tickets for Tampa. That's the next. Without dropping $600, that's the key.
That's the challenge, right?
I mean, oh man, our buddy Jeff, I guess he dropped a nice little batch of cash for the Toronto shows, and those are going to be insane. But I'm riding high as the Mountain West. So let's look at the Mountain West Conference. Darren, any new tidbits that we should know about the Mountain West this year? Any new changes?
We lost Boise. A moment of silence.
I haven't noticed.
A moment of silence for this conference taking a step down in quality after losing Boise and gaining Northern Illinois. That's like when the Orioles, opposite of swapping Len Sakata for Cal Ripken Jr. Just, we were talking the other day about how excited we were about the Conference USA and all the betting opportunities there. This conference low-key depresses me. I mean, of course, we all have a bet here, but a couple of these teams have destroyed me in previous years. I know I had futures bets on 2 of them last year, and I went 0 for 2. So very angry at this conference. However, week 0, I will be supporting Pete's favorite team as I need them to pull a minor upset to help my Stanford under win total that I laid. But yeah, 10-team conference. We got one of the newbies here, North Dakota State, an FCS powerhouse pretty much, but the brilliance that is the NCAA, they're not eligible to play for the title. I just don't understand it. But yeah, man, let's break it down. Let's get on with it.
All right, well, let's jump right in. Air Force plus 550 to win the conference, over under 6.5 wins. Darren, keep it going. Your soothing voice.
Yeah, man, I'm a big Liam Zarka fan. Curious to see what he can do with a full year, especially if he stays healthy. His 13 rushing TDs, believe it or not, actually led this entire conference, which tells you how awful it is. They do get their lead rusher back, Owen Allen, as well, which is fine. We all know, oddly enough, for a team called Air Force, they never pass the ball. The problem here is defense. Their defense was atrocious last year, only 16 sacks and a lot of returning production, which is probably not a good thing. But they did bring a new defensive coordinator in, so maybe he can do something with these guys. The D-line, they lost them all to graduation. These service academies, they don't really redshirt or mess with the transfer portal at all. So plus 550 I see on DraftKings. Looks like you got the same there for Hard Rock with an over-under of 6.5. That is juiced to the over. Schedule is certainly favorable. If Zarka can stay healthy and they can get anything out of this defense, I would certainly lean to the over here. But I've been burned by, like I said, multiple teams in this conference last year. Air Force was one of them. At plus 550, that's way too short for me to bet on them to win this conference. But if I was going to go anything, I would definitely lean over this win total here with them.
Yeah, my turn. So Air Force is always interesting, right? So this system, is solid. I mean, it makes them challenging at times because it's different, right? And I think when you're playing Air Force, you're dealing with a system and a team that plays a little bit differently. So that is part of when you're handicapping a game with them. That's part of the challenge, right? Is dealing with that. As Darren mentioned, right? The defense was not good, and I don't know what to expect with that this year. New defensive coordinator, and obviously a whole new defensive line, new too many new players that it's hard to say. I don't think it could be worse. So I think with the new coordinator and some of the new players in the line, maybe we'll get some improvement there. That would be positive. So, interesting with Boise out of this conference. This makes it a little more interesting as well. Air Force has been a player and certainly could be a player here in this conference. I don't expect them to win this conference, but that 6.5 win total, yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm slightly leaning on the over because the schedule is relatively favorable here. I don't really think it's a betting, premium betting play here, just because I think that 6.5 is pretty reasonable. It's right about there. So we'll see what happens. And I really just don't know what that defense is going to do. I mean, it's questionable. Too many moving parts there. But if the defense can take a step in the right direction, that 6.5 or going over that 6.5 might very well be playable. So we'll see how that works out. But for now, I don't have a play here.
And missing Hawaii actually helps. That's the one team they missed. Hawaii went into Air Force and beat the crap out of them last year. So certainly another reason why I lean the over. Again, most of these teams are playing everybody once with the exception of one team. So kind of get familiar with who they're missing. And as you look at the schedule, you do not see Hawaii, which can only help Air Force because I think Hawaii is going to be legit this year. So, yeah, I do agree with Pete leaning the over here.
Oh, speaking of Hawaii, plus 400 to win the conference. The over-under is 7.5 wins. The Rainbows. Peter, let's start with you here.
Well, anybody who listened to us last year knows that I have a very, very special place in my heart for the Rainbows, and they did very well for me last year. They were followed the script that I laid out for them at the beginning of the year rather nicely, so I'm hoping they'll do the same again for me here, including Darren mentioned, right, he's got that Stanford under this year, and I'm going to talk about my bet in a little bit here, but we could Hawaii could do us both a favor in week 0 as we go forward here. So this team jumps out at me immediately. Not because they're a favorite, because they're not, but because when I look at, the way they performed last year and what was really interesting to me last year, because, when I talked about them on this show last year, my perspective was that they're a very tough home beat, right? So you do not want to go to Hawaii and play them. And that's where good teams go to die, right? You don't want to do that. But as a road team, they can be something, right? They can be challenging. They can look bad at times on the road. Last year, that wasn't so much the case. They looked pretty good on the road multiple times last year. And that was impressive to me, right? So I think that, to me, made them more legitimate than I had thought they were, to be honest. I thought they were legitimate at home, questionable on the road. They seem to be legitimate in both venues, which was pretty good. So that's positive. So 7.5 is interesting to me, right? I think there's some pretty positive upside for this team here. Timmy Chang, obviously 5th season the head coach, quarterbacks returning, played well last year. So I think you're going to see some very positive offensive results out of this team. Look at the schedule. Looking through it game by game, right? Because I'm looking at the over here. That Stanford, even with Stanford as a loss, right? That week 0, I have them as a loss. I could still easily project out an 8-4 or 9-3 record with Stanford as a loss, right? So to me, that projects out pretty nicely here. I really like their schedule. I like the way it plays in. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home games, right? So to me, for the most part, other than UNLV, which will be challenging, so 5 of those should be wins. UNLV could be a toss-up on the road at home, because once again, any team going to Hawaii could be a problem for that team. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think this sets up really nicely for a team that was playing well last year and a dangerous team for this over. So I really like the over here. So I am going 1 unit on the over. I think I got plus 120. So over 7.5, 1 unit at plus 120. I really love that plus number that I got here as well. So that's my bet for this week.
Darren.
Yeah, this might be my favorite bet that Pete has made up to this point in the offseason. I mean, I started looking at them offensively. And again, this is a team that's not getting a ton back on either side of the ball, but you could say that for most of the teams in this conference. But what they are getting back are certainly some key pieces that helped with them being successful last year. Obviously, we talked about Micah Alejado. All right, last year, he was a freshman. The dude limped more than he walked normally. So, I mean, I would love to see with a year of experience under his belt and hopefully being healthy, what he could do. He gets Pafele Ashlock back, one of his leading receivers. Running back looks like it's going to be Cam Barfield, but along with his 80 rushes that he had, he also had 27 catches last year. So I'm really looking forward to see what this offense could do. And it seems under Timmy Chang, this offense has gotten a little bit better year after year after year. So I'm expecting another step forward for them there. And Pete had mentioned the schedule, like the teams that are projected to be good or favorites in this conference. And I differ that because North Dakota State is in here. They all go to Hawaii. And like Pete said, that is a difficult place to play because who the hell goes to Hawaii for like business? Certainly these college kids, I'm sure a fair amount of them aren't really too focused on football when they're in Hawaii. So North Dakota State goes there. UNLV, like Pete mentioned, goes there. New Mexico goes there. I mean, these are all the good teams, and these are teams that Hawaii can knock off with this offense. So I had a slight lean to the over as well, especially because there's plus money there. I don't want to touch them to win the conference because I don't know. I think there's a couple teams that are actually bad. I think this is a pretty top heavy conference. I think Hawaii's on that tier 2, I would say. No bet here, but I am in complete agreement with what Pete has. And yeah, I mean, obviously the week 0 game at Stanford. I gave out Stanford under during the ACC show and bet that. I had this pegged as a Stanford win, but Stanford doesn't look good this year. We'll just have to see if Hawaii's got enough to go on the road and beat them. And Pete, where's your coconut bra? I mean, that was like, I really thought talking about Hawaii early, you would have like the fire sticks twirling in the background, coconut bra
blaring in the background,
drinking something out of a pineapple. I'm very disgusted that you were not prepped for the show like I expected.
Lost in the mail. I don't know. They're supposed to be here, but they're not here. So I don't know.
But I mean,
can you imagine going from North Dakota, a road trip to Hawaii? It's like going to the moon. My God.
Exactly.
You're in North Dakota. You're for the whole year. All of a sudden, you're like, what is this place?
Yeah, but I mean, even look at that road schedule. I mean, the Arizona State thing, that's non-conference. But I mean, even the conference games are all against teams that are projected to kind of be awful. I mean, UTEP, Nevada, Northern Illinois. What the hell are they even doing in this conference? That's a rant for later. But I totally see where Pete's going, and I'm in complete agreement.
Yeah, I see that going as well. All right, moving on. Not so much of an impressive team. We got Nevada. They're plus 3,000 to win the conference. The over-under is 4.5 wins. Darren, the Wolfpack, what you thinking?
Yeah, this was a second bet that, again, I'm trying to keep to my one futures bet per G6 conference that I scrapped here. There's really not a lot that I like here. They have one player on defense, this kid, Dylan LaBarbera. Dude is ridiculous. How many times do you see a defensive lineman leading your team in tackles? Okay, this dude led in sacks. He led in tackles. I mean, this guy's probably NFL. He is legit. But unfortunately, that's about all that they have. I mean, this QB, kid Carter Jones, he didn't have a lot to work with last year, so I expected his numbers to be not good, and they weren't. They do get 3 returning starters on the O-line, which certainly helps. Top 5 wide receivers from last year, all gone. The back 7, linebacker and secondary group is basically going to be all new. They don't bring back a ton of returning production, and that schedule is brutal. Western Kentucky and the non-conference comes there. Air Force, New Mexico, Hawaii. Even on the road, North Dakota State, UCLA non-conference, UNLV. They miss Wyoming. Who knows what their offense is going to look like. But even then, their defense is pretty solid. So under 4.5 was really heavily juiced. So that was kind of a easy one to scratch off the list. But that's where I would go. I have no interest in these guys even sniffing the conference title. But under lean here, but I did not bet this.
Peter, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a program solidly in rebuilding mode here. I really, they're not going to be sniffing the title. I mean, the question is, could they even make a run at a bowl or being bowl eligible, which I don't think they can. So I don't. Yeah, quarterback's going to be a problem. I think that schedule is a problem because for a team that's not very good, that's a not very friendly schedule, as Darren pointed out. So I think they're going to get pummeled on a regular basis this coming year. So I think it's going to be a rough year for this team. Unfortunately, are they moving the right direction? Even if they are, it might be difficult to tell this year because I just don't think they're not set up for a successful season with that schedule.
It does not look good.
Quarterback situation, it just doesn't look good.
Well, that was an easy one. Now we're going to New Mexico plus 220, over under 7.5 wins. Interesting line. Peter, why don't you start with you on this one?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a program that has gone through talk about rebuilding, right? This is a team that went through a rebuilding that has been very successful, right? I mean, this is, and if you want to look at, a team that has gone through something that is impressive, this team has, right? When Jason Eck took over this program, it was largely irrelevant, and it has changed trajectory for sure, right? So Lobos are coming off a really good season, and I fully expect they will be in play this year as well, which is a massive shift for this program. As I was saying a few years ago, that was pretty much unheard of with this team. So, they may be the team to beat in this conference. They're certainly going to be near the top of it, right? So, and the market is pricing them that way, which makes the betting a little questionable with this team, which is why I don't have anything with them. But doesn't mean they're not a good team, because they certainly are. So, 8.5 wins. I think I have 8.5 here. You have 7.5 here. 7.5 is not bad. So, I mean, at 7.5, could you sniff an over? Maybe. At 8.5, I certainly wouldn't. But the schedule is not easy either. So this is a good team with a schedule that's not all that easy. So they're going to Hawaii, right? So where's that? You have the schedule here. They're going to Hawaii, which is of course, as we just talked about, not fun. Playing Oklahoma in here as well. So they have some difficult games in here. The schedule is not exactly, I said, favorable, but they are a good team. So I fully expect this team will be in contention for this conference. Would not blame anybody for wanting to bet them to win this conference. I just don't like the numbers, so I don't think they're very bettable with the numbers. But week to week, they could be some really interesting opportunities to bet them throughout the year. So yeah, that's my perspective here.
And Darren.
Yeah, this team's a favorite for a reason, and we're all from upstate New York, and we're just have that mentality to try and beat the favorite from our horse racing background. I can't do it. I can't find a way to not see these guys in the conference title game at worst. The quarterback comes back, which is always key. 4 returning stars on the O-line, which is better than any other team in this conference. They lose a lot of their starters at the skill positions, but a lot of that returning experience, they have it. So they're 21st overall in returning production in the country, which is better than anybody else in this conference. The only concern defensively, they did lose a bunch of sacks, but this still was a top unit against the run in this conference. Their leading interceptor, safety Austin Brawley, is back. And any tough game that they have on that schedule, North Dakota State comes to them. UNLV comes to them. Air Force comes to them. The Oklahoma thing, that's a non-conference. They're already 20-point underdogs. But yeah, I remember last year, I bet on Michigan to cover the spread against these guys. And New Mexico played an excellent game. And that's when I was like, you know what? This is a team to watch. It looked like they were going to get blown out early on. And, I don't want to say they outplayed Michigan the last 2.5 quarters of that game, but they certainly went toe-to-toe with them. I mean, I was impressed with what I saw. Pete, you're a Michigan fan. You can certainly comment on whether it was your team maybe not at the level you want or like New Mexico playing well. I thought New Mexico actually played kind of good that day. So
I agree. They look good. They look really good. Yeah.
They're not going to do anything against Oklahoma in all likelihood, but 20.5 may be a little disrespectful to the Lobos here. But again, like Pete said, too short a number to bet them to win the title, but I think they're going to. And I would lean with the over here, 7.5, even though it's juiced.
Yeah.
All right. And now we got the newcomers to the conference here. North Dakota State ineligible for the conference title, but the over-under is set at 9.5 wins. Stupid rule, I agree. Darren, let's start with you with the Bison here.
Yeah, dumb rule. First year in the FBS, not allowed to play for the conference title. Stupid. So you pay all that money. You don't even get a shot at the Mountain West title. And oddly enough, their win total suggests they could have been a player here. I mean, I've seen 9.5 juice to the under. I never really try and mess with FCS teams in regards to any futures bets. It's kind of more of a week-to-week thing with me to see how these players perform at the FBS level. But, I mean, they were a dynasty pretty much in the FCS. So I don't see – this is a great conference for them to come into because there's not a lot of competition here. But, yeah, I mean, they lost a lot of their starters from last year. So they're kind of left with some backups. They lost their quarterback. They lost their leading rusher. They lost their leading receiver. And there's not a lot coming back outside of 3 guys on the offensive line here as far as starters go. Tim, I know you're a big turnover ratio guy. How does plus 28 sound? I mean, I know that probably makes you all giddy to start looking at North Dakota State. I knew you would. But again, the O-line looks good. The D-line looks good. And, we saw from Miami last year, if you're good on those 2 units, you can do some damage. So, I mean, I kind of just lean the under because I don't know if this is a 10-2 team. Going to UNLV, New Mexico, and Hawaii could all be losses, which would basically make that an under right there. You can get a nice plus money number at DraftKings if you want to go under 8.5, but just to these FCS teams in year one are more of a week-to-week play for me. So stupid rule. Would love to see him play for the title, but I'm not touching this win. I think they start at Jacksonville State. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I think so. Yeah,
that should be fun because I think those two have played in the past. So definitely excited to see that game. But I'm not touching a brand new FBS team.
Any thoughts, Peter?
Yeah, this is interesting because this is not a typical kind of move up program. Right? We're talking about one of the kind of most dominant FCS programs in modern history that's moving up to the FBS in a conference that makes a heck of a lot of sense for them. So it is a stupid rule. I mean, this is a team that should thrive in this conference, I would think, and do well in the future. So this rule is ridiculous, right? They're getting screwed by this rule, but whatever. In the future should be bright for them in this conference. It's really hard to tell because things are obviously very different from FCS to FBS, so it's really hard to assess how all of those changes are going to impact a team like that. From the conference schedule, travel is different, depth requirements different, the week-to-week grind is different, everything is different, right? So from that perspective, it's a learning year, which is kind of why that rule exists in the first place. Fine. So we'll see what happens. I think that 10-2 is probably a lofty ceiling for a team, the first year in FBS. That doesn't, to me, I mean, if you're going to play anything, I would play the under here. That doesn't mean this is not a really good team. I think they are probably a really good team, but there's going to be a little growing pains here. So, I would think the under is probably a little enticing, especially for the right juice. That would be intriguing, but yeah, I don't have a play just because it's too hard to play massive change of this scale when you just don't have enough data to play off of. So that's my thoughts.
Do you think going forward the money and the recruiting will play a factor? I mean, FCS is one thing, but when you're trying to get a kid in a Division One, Power 4, Group of 6, hey, come to North Dakota. I don't know. It's a hard pitch.
This conference, though, I mean, there's not that many big names in this conference that are, detracting from that. I mean, there's a lot of similar types of
UNLV,
places.
hey, come to Vegas.
Well, there's a few, but there's a few, right? Hawai'i, but then again, a lot of people don't want to live in Hawaii either, right? So there's a few, but there's a lot of similar type of locations, and so it's the right conference for them to be in. So I don't know if that'll really hurt them long term in this conference.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it'd be good for them. I mean, as dominant as they were, now you have a chance to make the college football playoff. If you're coming in year one and you're projected to win around 9 games, I mean, FCS teams have not sucked right out of the gate. I mean, a lot of them have been successful. I mean, Sam Houston year 2 was 10-2. So there are success stories out there. And I think that area of the country, if there's anybody talented, why wouldn't you go to North Dakota State now? I mean, I think that can only help them.
Right. Okay.
You're drawing, talent from all over the country. There's a lot of young kids that are coming from these little towns all over the place. A lot of them are way more comfortable going to a school in a smaller area than going to some big name school in a bigger city. So a place like this might make sense for them. So they can draw some talent.
Yeah. Well, that remains. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We got Northern Illinois. I'd rather go to North Dakota, I guess, in this place. But plus 6,000, over under 3.5. Peter, let's start with you. NIU.
I have their floor at 2-10. That's what I think of this team. I think Darren's going to go off on this team, so I'm going to take 30 seconds and he can go for it. But yeah, this team is not good. Could they get to 4 wins? I'm not even sure they can get to 4 wins. Honestly, I would say maybe they can get to 3. Maybe I don't know. I mean, you know what? It's not even worth going through this schedule and try to find 3 wins. This is a bad team. It's not worth talking about. I'm not wasting anybody's time. Darren, it's your turn.
Tim, you had mentioned when we brought up their helmet, you're like, you'd rather go to North Dakota. I'd rather go to North Korea. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, just somebody explain to me, if there's a Northern Illinois fan watching, and I'm sorry that, this is your squad.
Sorry.
Just what's the motivation of leaving the MAC where your style of football actually plays well and you can be competitive to move to the Mount, and I'm sure money is the easy answer, but I mean, the MAC is like, mostly run heavy, play some defense. Your successful teams, Miami of Ohio, Western Michigan, teams that run the ball and play good defense. I mean, this is a program that beat Notre Dame 2 years ago. What the hell has happened with them since? I have no idea. I just, this team averaged under 100 pass yards per game last year. This is kind of a pass-happy conference. I don't get what you're doing here. I mean, geography, it makes no sense. So I don't even understand that. But, from a team standpoint, you got a 3-way QB battle. Apparently one guy's great at passing, one guy's great at running, one guy's average at doing both. So I can't even start to break down this offense till I know who the quarterback is going to be. You get a lot of your wide receivers back. That's great. They don't catch any passes because you run the ball all the time. Telly Johnson Jr., excellent player. Not sure why you didn't transfer, Telly. You can do much better. No returning starters on the defense, 132nd in the country in defensive returning production, only 14 sacks last year. Good luck trying to catch any of these quarterbacks that love to fling it and run all over the place. This move makes no sense to me. I don't know why the 3.5 is juiced to the over unless I'm missing. I mean, they don't have to play New Mexico. That's one game they won't lose. But I mean, you're going to Iowa, you're going to Arizona in non-conference, you're going to North Dakota State. Fuck it. You know what? I'm sorry. I don't want. This is just. I don't get the move. I mean, other than they must have got paid a lot, but of course, then they probably had to pay the MAC to get out of there. So I don't know, man. Make it make sense because I don't understand it. I don't like this team in this conference. If they went 0-8 in the conference, it wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me at all. This is just not a team built for this conference, and they weren't a great team to begin with. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Tim. What am I missing?
Well, if you don't know, I don't know. You're not missing much.
Well, you're supposed to know. You're the host. God damn it! I know
for your blood pressure sake, we should move on and get away from.
Dude, I mean, there's a lot of things in college football that don't make sense. This may top the list. I don't know.
All right, so we're going to go on to San Jose State, over under 4.5 wins, plus 1750 for the conference. Darren, you are so ready to go, so we're going to start with Pete.
Another team I can't stand this year. Okay, first of all,
we're going to go with Darren.
We talked. What did we talk about? We talked about the Pac-12 last show and checking out your win totals because if you're using certain apps, they're basing it off an 11-game regular season. San Jose State is the only team in the Mountain West this year that's actually playing 13 regular season games. So if you're betting a win total, please keep that in mind. I know your next question. Well, why are they doing that? And as we touched on earlier, it all comes down to money. So there's kind of like this Hawai'i rule because Hawaii has trouble getting non-conference opponents to come out there. It's very expensive to fly an entire football team, players, coaches, band, cheerleaders, whatever, to go out to Hawaii. So what those teams that get to go to Hawaii are allowed to do if they want is to either take that second bye week, which everybody else in the conference has done, or play a 13th game at home because that gives them a 7th stream of income to offset the costs. So some teams will do that. Most of the time they're still like, the bigger schools maybe have the money that it's not a big deal to them. But for San Jose State, it is. So they're playing 13 regular season games this year. So just keep that in mind. That being said, they could play 16 regular season games. I don't know how this team is going over 4.5. This is not a good team. 137th overall in returning production. Yes, there's only 138 teams this year. This is a complete rebuild. He was talking about somebody else earlier, like it was Nevada, rebuild. Well, you know what? This is even a bigger rebuild than what Nevada's looking at. Yep. You've got another 3-way battle to be the top QB. I don't care who it's going to be at this point because the rest of the team is so bad. Your top 2 running backs gone. Your top 5 wide receivers gone. And remember, this is a team that's pretty pass happy. 2 years ago they had Nick Nash, who was like the triple crown winner in catches, receiving yards, and downs. They had Scudero, who transferred. He's out of there. Defensively, no turning starters. This team only intercepted 3 passes, had 18 sacks. They allowed the most points in the Mountain West last year, so I don't even know if they can improve because they're really not bringing anybody back. So like I said, they're playing everybody in the conference because of that 13 games. They're not missing anybody. But they get Fresno State non-conference. I mean, I'm high on Fresno State. I have a bet on them to win their conference. New Mexico, UNLV, North Dakota State. They could lose all those at home easy. They're going to USC to start the season. They're probably going to get blasted there. They go to Hawaii. They go to Air Force. I don't know where 5 wins are coming on this schedule. Not that I can read that anyway, but if I could, I mean, everybody's got to do their schedule like Nevada. Like the Nevada schedule you showed was beautiful.
Perfect.
But yeah, I mean,
the word schedule is bigger than anything else on the screen.
That's so the San Jose State fans can't see who they're losing to more often than not. I think they did that on purpose. But I mean, this is just a bad team. If this, I'm thinking outside of Northern Illinois and San Jose State are going to be your 2 bottom feeders in the conference this year. I can almost guarantee it. I just, Ken Niamatolo, I'm sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong. It's not like he's listening anyway. Great coach, but he really has very little to work with this year. The people he brought in are all from FCS schools. They got
Northern Illinois, they got Nevada, but they're both on the road. So
Nevada could probably beat them because I don't know if Northern Illinois can, but even if they beat Northern Illinois, where is their? I mean, I took an alternate line here. I mean, the line's 5.5, but the under was so heavily juiced. DraftKings offered me 4.5 at some plus money, so I took it. I went over on them last year, and they killed me, just like another team we're going to talk about shortly. So I had 2 bets in this conference, and it was a disaster. But I thought San Jose actually had pieces last year, which they did with Walter Eget, Danny Scudero. They don't have either of those guys anymore, so I don't know where the wins are coming. Yeah, man, 1 unit, under 4.5, plus money. I asked 2 teams in a row I've ranted on. Can we please go to something pleasant like rainbows and talk about the rainbows again? The rainbows are calming. Unicorns.
That's right. Lovely, happy. Yes.
So angry now.
Pete,
talk about San Jose State. Just tell me if I'm wrong or if you think
I don't know what to say after that other than you said it all. I mean, this team is in a major rebuild. Major rebuild. I've got 5 guys listed in the quarterback room. So if you have 5 quarterbacks, you have none, right? That's a problem. The one thing you said, the one thing which I agree with, they have a really good coach. I like their coach a lot, but he's got nothing to work with here. Right. This is a major rebuild. That schedule is not good. They're going to get pummeled repeatedly this year. Like I said earlier, yeah, that's a great bet. That under all day long. I don't know what this team is going to do other than just get pummeled. So yeah, you said it all.
All right. I'm going to move on to the Running Rebels. UNLV, they're plus 240 for the conference, over under 7.5 wins. Peter, would you like to rant, or are you just going to play nice this time?
Well, I'll play nice because this is a good team, right? I mean, I can't beat up UNLV. This is a solid team that has a pretty high ceiling here, I think. And so I think the team that has talent, so I would expect them to compete for the conference title. They should be in play here. Quarterback storyline's a little bit fascinating here. So we got Jackson Arnold transferring in after stops at Oklahoma and Auburn, and so I think that is interesting because now I think we have a good, talented quarterback at the helm here. So I think we've got some interesting things happening on the offensive side of the ball. So I think we have a high upside reset there. Staff structure is strong, so I like that as well. The issue, I think, just from the betting perspective, right, which is what we care about here, is that number, right? So that number that I got. What do you have for the win total? I got 9.5 here. So you have 7.5?
7.
Yeah, 7.5 on DraftKings.
Yeah. I mean, 7.5 is interesting. So I think that, I would lean on the over on that 7.5. The 9.5, which I got from, I think that was a FanDuel number somewhere. It was a really bad number. I don't know where I pulled that from. But anyway, I certainly wouldn't touch that. That 7.5 is a little interesting, maybe on the positive side there, but still. And it's a high bar, I think, in a conference where there are, as Darren said, there's a bit of top heaviness here with a number of some really good teams at the top of this that should be competing. So it'll be interesting. So they are a title contender. I could see them being 9-3, 10-2, something like that would not be terribly surprising. Maybe 8-4, I don't know, but they'll be a successful team. We'll see what happens later in the year, and we'll see what happens with the championship run. So we'll see how that plays out. Those are my thoughts.
Darren.
Yeah, I think these guys in New Mexico are properly priced here. I don't think the odds makers really got this one wrong. I mean, usually I can find something that doesn't make sense, but New Mexico and UNLV as your betting favorites, that does make sense. I mean, I'm not the biggest Jackson Arnold fan in the world, but I mean, he failed where? Oklahoma and Auburn. That's a little different than coming to play in the Mountain West. So, I mean, I totally expect him to be just fine. He does give that running element that UNLV likes from their quarterbacks. And if he doesn't succeed, Pete, your boy Alex Orgy from Michigan, I believe, is the backup here. Yeah, so even then they got somebody with some experience in case he fails again. Defensively, they started out the year pretty rough, so their stats kind of suffered because – I mean, didn't they have some crazy game against some awful FCS team early in the year that just went like 80 or 90 points or something like that? But, I mean, not a lot of returning production here on either side of the ball. But in this conference, I don't know if that matters because their schedule certainly sets up nice for them. That Memphis game, week 1, Tim, I know you've got that Memphis bet. I'm looking forward to that week 0 game right off the bat. But, Cal coming out, they'll stomp Cal. North Dakota State comes to them. Yeah, even the road games aren't – well, I mean, they go to New Mexico. That could be interesting. But a missing UTEP certainly doesn't help. But this team still, I believe, has enough to beat the majority of the teams here. So if this was a New Mexico UNLV conference final, it would be boring as hell, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit. So, yeah, I like this team too.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I don't know. I think the line's a little low. I think New Mexico would beat them. For as far as that goes, yeah. Let's just move on. Yeah. No, I'm not touching them. Yeah, listen to Darren. He brings up some points. I'm like, maybe I'll bet them, but no, I'm not gonna. I won't be talking to betting anymore. My bankroll's getting down to like the last 20% of it. So.
Yeah, we could have a show on how we're doing with our new year betting resolutions.
Well, right. I do have less bets than I did last year. So I did cut my futures bets in half so far. So.
We still have many shows to go.
Yeah, we still have like 4 other conferences and 6 shows altogether. I sent you guys a bet and unit count. You are leading in both.
I am in the leader at the turn. So we're going to go to UTEP plus 7,500, and the win total is 3.5. I think we started with Pete last time, Darren.
Yeah, another team that burned me. I thought Malachi Nelson would go in there and actually not suck. Well, he sucked. They are turning to a guy from Incarnate Word, and we all know that's the
there we go.
factory in the world. So, yeah, EJ Colson coming over from Incarnate Word to run this show. Anything's got to be an improvement than what this offense did last year. Threw 20 picks, which I believe led the nation. But no returning starters here. So who knows what the heck they're going to do offensively. On defense, their second leading tackler is back, Jaden Wilson, their linebacker. Only 5 interceptions as a unit. Gave up 30 points a game. Hot seat candidate, Scotty Walton. Some UTEP people on Twitter are like, this dude's got to go. 5 wins in 2 seasons tells me I probably agree with that. And they left Conference USA. I don't know. I think they might have been better just staying where they're at, but what the hell do I know? Again, another team with very little returning production, ranking 126 out of 138. And that road schedule, they could literally lose every single game that I see. Oklahoma and Michigan in the non-conference. Good luck with that. New Mexico, North Dakota State, Air Force. Oh, they miss UNLV, so that's certainly helpful. What's the other road game? I can't read it. Oklahoma, Michigan, New Mexico, North Dakota State. Oh, Northern Illinois. Oh, that should be must-see TV.
Great.
Keeping an ice pick handy to jab myself in the eye if that's the only game I'm forced to watch. But, I mean, what do we got? 3.5 juice to the under. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if I see 4 wins here.
No, I do not.
I don't know if I do. I don't know anything about Texas Southern really at this point. I know Oregon State's not great.
They're better than UTEP.
Probably. Yeah. UTEP and San Jose. Oh, God, I hope I'm working that day.
I'm counting 2 so far.
Can we next year just not preview this conference at all and save ourselves the heightened blood pressure? I have to lean the under here. I don't know where I see 4 wins here. And again, we're not knowing what these quarterbacks going to look like who come from the lower levels up to an FBS level, even if it's the Mountain West. You like to kind of see a game or two, but I already know what they're going to look like at Oklahoma and at Michigan in weeks 1 and 3. So I don't know what kind of read I'm going to get on this offense against those 2 teams. They might not even score any points. So I don't know. Again, this was the other team I bet on the over last year, hence my anger. Dude, this is not my conference. Why am I even on? Under. I lean the under.
Peter.
Yeah, I think we kind of jointly covered this, right? I think the under here, probably, I could see a 3-9 season or something like that. It seems very likely. I'm struggling getting more than 2 wins on the schedule, maybe 3. This is a team that they have some energy. I think maybe long term they'll be fine. They're just not here at all. They're going to have a tough year. That schedule is freaking brutal for this team. Those first 3 games, 2 of them they're going to get absolutely trucked. Maybe that middle one they can look like a football team. I don't know, but they'll be so demoralized after those first 3 games. Perhaps that'll be it. So who knows? So not going to be a good year, unfortunately, for this team. But hopefully they can keep their mental prowess together to carry through the rest of the year. That's all I could hope for them. So I'm out.
Right. Well, all right. Well, I was scrounging for a bet here, guys. We're going to move on to the last team here. We got Wyoming, the Fighting Fennis Dembos, plus 2,000 to win the conference. 5.5 wins is the over/under. I got a play on this one. Peter, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll keep it relatively short. I think they're a middle of pack team. I think they can be the issue with them. Not the same thing as Hawaii, because going to Hawaii can be challenging, but this can be a tough place to go play depending on weather and other circumstances. So it's not a place, especially later in the year, that I would want to go play a game, right? So that can be challenging, but there's really nobody going there that matters later in the year. So that's not really going to come into play. But offensive problems in this team, I think, will be inherent all the way through the year. I am not overly excited about this the offensive side of the ball here. So the real question, I think, for them, this is try to make a bowl here, right? Try to get to 6 games, try to make a bowl. That's what I think they're playing for. And that's about it. If I look at the schedule, can they do that? Maybe. Right, I think they'll be struggling to try to get the bowl contention, and that's about the best they can have. So those are my thoughts.
Darren, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on to him because I know what you got here, but this team did struggle offensively, and they're bringing in a William and Mary transfer to run the show here. But anything's got to be better than what they did last year. So maybe there's some cause for optimism. They lost their top 5 wide receivers from last year. Defensively, they're pretty good. And like Pete said, going up there at certain times of the year, it's not easy. They have some brutal weather up there, and that certainly plays to their advantage. But again, a good defense. A lot of their D linemen and linebackers are not there anymore. The only 2 returning starters they have are both in the secondary. So I would hope for Tim's sake this defense doesn't regress here. Schedule's not awful, so that's certainly helpful. The road games at North Dakota State and UNLV will probably be losses, but some of the other teams that are more likely to compete for the conference title go to Wyoming, including Hawaii. I think that's a September game, but I'm pretty sure Hawaii doesn't want anything to do with Wyoming weather at any point during the year. So maybe they can pull a stunner there, but Air Force comes there, New Mexico comes there. Air Force, they probably wouldn't give a crap about the weather. They're in Colorado, which is just as bad as Wyoming weather-wise. So the schedule certainly sets up nice for them. There isn't anybody. What's that non-con? Oh, Colorado State. They're going to be terrible. Is that UConn? Is that supposed to be a Husky? Yeah. Oh, that's Northern Colorado. Oh, Northern Colorado and Colorado State. Yeah, they can handle both of those. The Central Michigan game is interesting.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, I think
had that for a toss-up.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, the schedule certainly helps what Tim's about to release here. But this is, they replaced oh God, who was their coach forever that retired, and they replaced him with Jay Norvell, who was awful. Yeah, I don't know, Tim. I'm hoping the best for you, but I don't.
No, my pick, obviously, I'm going over here, 5.5 wins. Like I said, I go back, we'll look at their schedule. I like, they got the 6 home games right there. I think they can get UConn at home. New Mexico, iffy. I think they can take Hawaii at home. Yeah. I said that.
Pete's face is getting redder by the second.
They got Colorado State, Northern Colorado. They got, they're on the road, but San Jose State's another, weak team. Northern Illinois, they got them at home. They got Air Force at home, but still a home field is home field. I got 4 of those games that they can win. I got like another 3 or 4 toss-up games if they win half of them. I mean, I'm just asking them to be bowl eligible this year. We're not asking them to win the conference or anything. I'm banking on the defense. I'm looking at the schedule. I just like the way it lines up. A lot of teams that are probably better than them, but they're coming up, literally up to Wyoming. And, I like the way the schedule's playing out. We'll see what North Dakota does in their first year. It is a step up in class, if you will. And not much of a step, I guess. But a step up indeed. We'll see how that goes. But I like over 5.5 wins. Have not placed a bet yet. It's not there on Hard Rock Bet, so that line of -110 is from FanDuel. I got that from Darren earlier today.
No, that's a DK line. I don't know if FanDuel's starting to, right after Pete finished ranting yesterday, FanDuel has started to I don't know if somebody from FanDuel was listening or not, but yeah, let me
dude, that targeting winner guy is pissed.
Dude, he is ragging on us, man. Let me see what they got right now as we sit here, because I know they had some conferences up. Give me 1 second. They have the Pac-12, they have Conference USA, and they have Sun Belt Conference odds. So they are getting there. There is some hope. They also have. Oh, you know what? They do have win totals here.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right. Looks like they've got win totals for everybody. So they're just missing. And Wyoming 5.5 is -110 on FanDuel. So yeah, that is an accurate number.
See, a little rant and they listen. We're good.
That's customer service. That's how they're going to spin
right.
it. Customer service. All right, let's wrap this up. I've got Wyoming. Yes, you just heard, over 5.5 wins. Peter.
Rainbows, over 7.5 wins, +120.
And Darren.
San Jose State, baby. Alternate line on DK, under 4.5 at +120.
That was sexy.
1 unit.
Ooh, that was sexy.
All right.
I got a little plus money this week. I like it.
All right, that'll wrap up this show for the Mountain West. Thank you for listening on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Please, if you like the show, subscribe. Help us out. Go try to find some rush tickets, folks. And we will see you next week. Catch you later.